Hello, my name is Lucy O'Hagan of Wild Awake, and I'm really grateful to you all for joining me today for this workshop for BurrenBeo. So the workshop that I'm presenting to you this evening is called Tracking as a Way of Belonging Ourselves to the Land. So I'd love to just begin by an introduction into what wildlife tracking is and how we can cultivate the mind of a tracker as we begin our tracking journey. So I first was introduced to wildlife tracking by my teacher John Ryder of the Woodcraft School about 3 years ago, I think, and I would say that it was a pretty life-changing moment for me the first time I was taken out tracking. Up until then I'd been really passionate about plants. I loved being out in the woods, but there was something about tracking which just brought everything to life. And it was this moment of realizing that suddenly I was no longer the protagonist of this story, that I was following the tracks of the deer and piecing together what it had eaten that night, where it had pooed, the story of its life. And I just find that a really beautiful and humbling experience, and in the world that we are in today, I think it can only be a good thing when we start to imagine the world that where humans aren't at the centre. So cultivating a tracker's mind. So this has been described to me as losing one's mind and coming to one's senses, and I love that saying. And I think especially nowadays, as so many of us are spending more time at home and we're spending more time on our devices, it's more important now than ever to get out and to enjoy and appreciate and take care of nature. But obviously, you know, we can go out into nature and not be fully present as well. We can go out into nature and take a video on an iPhone like we're doing right now. So tracking for me is a way of cultivating my awareness, of deepening my senses and just becoming fully present in the moment now. And that I find the stories and the tracks and the signs of what eco-philosopher David Abraham calls our more than human kin, well, that's just a bonus as well. So how to come into our senses. So one way that I love to do this is something that most of you will probably be quite familiar with, and that is through something called wide-angled vision, also known as owl eyes. So where you're sitting now, we can practice this together. So when we're doing wide-angled vision, we start and we just pick a point in the distance to fix our eyeballs on, and just keep your gaze very soft here. And when you find a place just straight ahead of you, you're going to bring up our hands and very slowly start to move our hands outwards and wiggling our fingers. And without moving our eyeballs at all, you just want to see where is the edge of your peripheral vision here. So you can bring your hands right out and just test the edges by bringing your fingers in. And we notice that without even moving our eyes, we can take in this whole expanse in front of us. And this isn't just horizontal, it's vertical too, so you can test it from sky to ground as well. And come in to this state where, without moving my eyes and keeping this very soft gaze, I can begin to take in more of the world around me. So there's a very practical application for this, and studies have shown that if a person goes through their life practicing wide-angled vision for between 3 and 5 minutes every day, we move from beta waves in our brain to more alpha waves. So we're moving into the right side of the brain. And when we move into the right side of the brain, we're cultivating more intuition, more creativity, we're feeling more well in our body, and I suppose like in the ventral vagal system, so that part of our nervous system where we're feeling calm and in this state of what is known as kind of relaxed alertness. So if you imagine a deer is eating the grass and it'll sense a noise and it will look up really alert, but it can go back into this relaxed state of awareness as well. So we're cultivating that as we're moving through the woods and as we're tracking. And when we're in wide angle vision, we can take in much more, and we can start to notice the shapes, the colors, the textures that are around us. And it's going to be much easier for us to pick up any kind of subtle differences, any tracks, maybe a munched leaf, and also any movements. So maybe you'll notice a bird flying out of a tree, or the flick of a deer tail running away from you. Another great application for this is also how we're perceived by the more than human world as well. So when we go into a natural space with this tunnel vision, so this hyper-focused vision that we're so used to when we're looking at our phones or when we're in an indoor space. But if you've ever had that experience of being watched, and you know that you can feel somebody's gaze fixed on you, that's just what animals are feeling as well if we go into a natural space with that kind of vision. So by constantly checking back in with that wide-angled vision, you're going to be more likely to see wildlife and to be able to observe them for a long time. So yeah, that's one thing that I would keep coming back to, is that wide angle vision. And also just like this sense within me of gratitude. So just constantly coming back to that place of breathing, checking in with my wide angle vision, feeling a sense of gratitude for where I am in the world right now, and then just starting to enter into the spirit of this place. So where is the wind coming from? Where is the sky, the sun in the sky? What bird noises can I hear around me? Are they at a baseline? As in, are the birds just going about their normal business, or is there a little wren that's alarming very fast and giving you away to potentially other wildlife in the area as well? So these many layers of awareness that we can begin to cultivate as we step outside and begin to track. So for the next part, I'm going to talk to you on Zoom and just give you some tips about what it is that we're looking for when we go out tracking, where the best places to look are, and then we'll go on to just looking at some different tracks and signs and how you might identify them. But just to begin from that place of the tracker's mind, the quiet mind that is in awe of everything around us, and also with this insatiable curiosity to know more about the natural world.